How do we practice emotional intelligence using the 6 seconds emotional intelligence model? When I got started in learning emotional intelligence, I found a few models, but I struggled with them, and I'm going to be very honest with that. Until I met the 6 seconds emotional intelligence model, I struggled with the ones that I was learning and using in my different training programs. And the general one would be the 4 steps model, which is to practice emotional intelligence, you have to be self-aware, you have to have self-management, then social awareness, and then relationship management. And so I give you an example. So if you receive a nasty mail, for example, and that's the situation you want to manage using emotional intelligence, this model teaches that you need to be self-aware. And the self-awareness in that situation is you have to have accurate self-awareness or emotional awareness. And I've always asked myself, so what does that mean? How do I do that in the moment? Because there's a nasty mail in front of me. How do I have emotional self-awareness? And then the next stage is you need to self-manage yourself. And to do that, you have to be transparent or you have to be adaptable. And then I used to ask myself, so how do I become adaptable? Because I believe that there's a how to all of these things. Then when I met the 6 seconds emotional intelligence network, I found what I was looking for, because it is a model that has the how embedded into it. And I'll break it down. So to practice emotional intelligence using the 6 seconds emotional intelligence model, you need to understand 3 things. Okay, so we've got pursuits and we've got competencies, but I'm going to discuss the pursuits here. So for the pursuits, you need to know yourself, choose yourself, and give yourself. I'll repeat it. Know yourself, choose yourself, and give yourself. And the good thing about this pursuit is they are measurable and there are learnable competencies behind them. So what does it mean to know yourself in the midst of the situation? So the first thing I'm going to tell you is that the color of know yourself is blue. And that's very important, right? Why is it blue? It's a metaphor for the blue color of water, right? And so when you look into the water that is blue, what do you see? You see yourself. So the first step to practicing emotional intelligence in the moment using this model is to see yourself. It's to come to a realization. It's to know yourself. And how do you do that? You do it by simply asking yourself a few questions, 1 question, 2 questions or thereabout. So to know yourself, which is the first step in practicing emotional intelligence, with the example of a nasty mail from a customer, the first thing you need to do is to ask yourself, what am I feeling right now? Now that's a how in know yourself. And you could say to yourself, I feel irritated. I feel sad with this mail. Another question you can ask yourself in that moment is, what is my strength in this situation? Or what is my weakness? Another important question would be, okay, what insight can I get from this situation now? While you do all of that, in the midst of reading that mail, you are knowing yourself. You probably now know that you are irritated. You probably now know that, these people are trying to get me on the wrong side of this discussion. You probably know right now that, it is weakness for me when I read mails where people are accusing me. And that is the first step. The first step is a realization step. It is not an action step. And so the first thing you do is to come to a realization. Now that you've come to a realization, the second thing you need to do in using this 6 seconds emotional intelligence model is to choose yourself. Now, how do you choose yourself? Because there are options to the things that you can do at that time. And to do this, you ask yourself another important question. And I love this question so much. It says, what options do I have? The first one is, what am I feeling? What insights do I need to get from this? The second question is, what options do I have? And at that time, you've not done anything. You just came to realization and now you're seeing your options. Should I reply this mail with the same tone that this person have used in sending me the mail? Should I call a colleague and ask them what is really going on? That's the second option. Should I just give them the information they want and leave all the unnecessaries out of it? That's the third option. The fourth option, should I report this person to my boss? You see, you are practicing emotional intelligence now because you are thinking before you eventually would act. And that's the second step. By the way, what is the color of choose yourself? The color of choose yourself is red. And red means stop or pause. And that's why we call this organization Pause Factory. You take a realization, you take a pause, you look at the options, then you go to the last step, which is give yourself. Now the color of give yourself is green, and the metaphor is the traffic light where green says go. Now you have to go, but how do you go? How do you reply the mail? How do you deal with the situation? You go with the question of give yourself. And the question of give yourself could be, what is important in this situation now? Or what is the big picture in the midst of all of this? And so when you ask yourself, what is important now? And you look at the options of choose yourself, you realize that what is important now is to give them the information they want. Or what is important right now is to gain information. So call a colleague to explain what is going on for you. While you are doing all of this, somebody else would have replied the mail harshly and regretted. But you have practiced emotional intelligence. You knew yourself. You came to a realization. You took a pause and you look at the options. Choose yourself. Now you are asking yourself, which of the options would go with the big picture or with the vision of the organization? That's give yourself. By the time you go around this circle, and by the way, it's a circle. By the time you go around this circle, you would have chosen the appropriate action, irrespective of the irritation that you felt when you started reading the mail. And why is it round? Because you can go round and round and around and keep choosing and keep knowing and keep giving, and keep growing with your emotional intelligence. I love this model so much. So what are you taking away? It is that you know yourself, come to a realization. Choose yourself, take a pause and look at the option. Give yourself, choose the options that take you to the vision, to the big picture, to the goal. And that's very important because emotions would make you focus on the present, on the issue at hand. But emotional intelligence would show you the big picture. And give yourself is what asks you, which option are you taking? Are you tying it to the big picture, to the vision of the organization? It's a very beautiful model, blue, red, and green, which is be more aware, be more intentional, be more purposeful. Be more aware, be more intentional, and be more purposeful. And you can do that everywhere with your children. Be more aware, be more intentional, be more purposeful. With your spouse, be more aware, be more intentional, be more purposeful. And with your colleagues, be more aware, be more intentional, be more purposeful. With the food you're about to eat, be more aware, be more intentional, and be more purposeful. Eat purposefully, not as a result of what you're feeling. With your health, be more aware, be more intentional, be more purposeful. This is how to practice emotional intelligence with the 6 seconds emotional intelligence model. Go ahead and practice it. It will move your life forward and roll you round and round and round, and you continue to grow and live a better life.